Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, MJ Maynard joins us. She's the CEO of the RTC of Southern Nevada. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
It's one of the oldest scams in Vegas. Make them think one thing and pull off another. Meet Sam Brown, or as Republicans call him, Scam Brown. Brown created a special fundraising committee he said would be used to elect Republicans. But instead, Brown pocketed money for his own campaign. In fact, fewer than 2% went to helping other candidates. Sam Brown, can't trust him to be for you. Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome to the program for the first time MJ Maynard. She's the CEO of the RTC of Southern Nevada. It is a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you, Sam. It's so great to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Oh, absolutely. So many exciting things going on, obviously, in Southern Nevada. And I would guess that the biggest one, and it's been going on for so long, at least the discussion of it, is Maryland Parkway. It goes down by the university. When I look at projects like Maryland Parkway, I'm going to have you explain exactly what this is and what you're trying to accomplish. But it always seems to me that beyond just transportation, it's also economic development for all the areas that you go through. So tell us what's going on with Maryland Parkway.
Well, if you watch the news, and I'm thinking that since you were a Nevada newsmaker, you are aware that last week we had our groundbreaking for the Maryland Parkway Bus Rapid Transit Project. Actually, the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was here for that. They presented us with a very big check, about almost $150 million in federal funds for this project, which will total about $378 million. You know, it really is a long time coming. Sam, if you have spent any time, I moved here to Southern Nevada in 1980. When you think of Maryland Parkway in 1980 versus Maryland Parkway today, the opportunity to invest in this very, very significant corridor is going to be great for Southern Nevada. And it's improving not only transit in a corridor that is very reliant on transit. The Maryland Parkway route happens to be one of our busiest routes, the third busiest route. There are 9,000 daily transit riders. But it's also an opportunity to, again, it's this improvement in terms of aesthetics in the corridor. It's a revitalization, if you will. And so aside from implementing better transit, so out of the 12.5 miles of Maryland Parkway, which, by the way, again, 9,000 daily transit riders and 90,000 jobs just in and around that area. Thousands of folks live in that area. And this BRT will connect from the Harry Reid International Airport to UNLV, Sunrise Hospital, retail areas like the Boulevard Mall, and actually travel into downtown Las Vegas and turn around at the Las Vegas Medical District. So major connectors, again, for a corridor that is in need of improvement, right? It's because as we continue to grow outwardly, some of the major corridors that were bustling years ago, this is an opportunity to really, again, give it this redesign. So improved transit service, it's going to have a dedicated set out of the 12 miles, about 7.5 miles of dedicated bike lanes, improved lighting, improved pedestrian signalization. We're going to install and upgrade 42 transit bus shelters. And we're actually doing shade studies to understand, again, just how convenient these shade shelters can be in terms of heat mitigation. So it's going to be a great improvement. We started construction last week, and the project will be up and running probably first or second quarter of 2026.
So some of the businesses along that corridor, including down by the university, have gotten a little run down over the last few years. Do you see developers already looking at this and going, this is an opportunity for us to join in and redevelop some of these properties?
I don't know if I've specifically spoken to any developers. Our team, so this takes quite the effort, not only from the contractors and subcontractors, but the communication part of this project is super important. And that is because it is ensuring that all the businesses that align that soon to be upgraded route need to know and understand the impacts. Certainly they're excited about how this, again, investment will improve the corridor. We've worked closely with Dr. Whitfield at UNLV. He's got a vision for what this university area should look like, and that includes, again, a better transit system, upgraded amenities. You're going to see improved landscaping. I mean, it's really going to not only, again, improve the way that people move in that corridor, but the way that it looks. And it's really about designing a system that really is intended for motor vehicles, transit riders, pedestrians, with a concentration, again, on the aesthetics, but certainly on safety improvements.
One of the things that has been a part of this debate was whether to use light rail or not. Was it just really the expense of light rail that pushed that out?
That is, you certainly know your facts, because that is exactly right. Maryland Parkway, as part of a grant, when you apply for a grant, we applied for a grant from Maryland Parkway, a federal grant, and you need to do it's called an alternatives analysis. What does that mean? It means you need to talk to the businesses and the people that live in and around that area to ask them what they would prefer to see in terms of an investment. Is it light rail? Is it bus rapid transit? Is it just improved transit service? What does that look like? And the results that came in that area, the folks wanted, businesses and residents wanted to see light rail. And so at the time, and you'll hear me talk a lot about my favorite F word, Sam, and that is funding.
Thank you for that.
Funding is my favorite F word, yeah. So at the time, we certainly heard that this was going to be, this is something that the residents wanted, but unfortunately, we did not have the funding to support that. And our RTC Board of Commissioners had to make a tough decision to instead choose bus rapid transit rather than light rail. It's interesting, and I certainly didn't know this before I joined the public sector, and specifically the RTC, but when you apply for federal grants, the Federal Transit Administration, they do a financial scrub, and they do that more than once, because they want to ensure that if they're going to provide federal funding for the project, that you have that local match, the local funding to dedicate and support for the ongoing operation and maintenance, at least 20 years out. And for light rail, we don't have that, still don't have that. Didn't have it then, don't have it now, and that's a big challenge for our region, for the agency, is how we're going to continue to fund, grow, and improve mobility here in Southern Nevada. So while we're extremely excited about the opportunity to implement bus rapid transit, there was a desire from some to have light rail, but the funding just did not support that.
Let's change to another topic that is going to be of great discussion in the coming months here, and that is the Formula One race. What we saw last year with the first year, and taking into account it was the first year, but there were all kinds of nightmares, and one of them that would pertain, I think, to your agency would be employees for the hotel casinos being able to get to their jobs without having to have additional 2-hour commutes. What are you guys working on in conjunction with the Formula One folks to make life a little easier, hopefully, for commuters this coming year?
I think it was challenging, even for a city like ours that puts on major events all the time. But it took, again, a collective effort. We work closely with Clark County on the F1 experience, certainly the Las Vegas Grand Prix folks and the LVCVA. And it was, I think it was more difficult last year because they actually had this, they had to grade the track and prepare the track. They don't have to do that this year. So I think the biggest, and it's still going to be disruptive. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The Las Vegas Strip is already a very congested corridor. But I think it's just that when they build the bridge of Flamingo and Koval, the bridge, that bridge building period is going to be a little challenging, as well as, of course, race week and then the breakdown. But we do anticipate it won't be as impactful as it was last year because it took so long to get that track ready. We will be, it's very, very difficult, quite frankly, for transit riders that use public transit to work in the resort corridor. So we will, this year, from what we learned last year, we're going to go ahead and implement detours much earlier because the transit riders really need the certainty of where the stop is going to be, where it's been moved so that they can factor in the additional time to get to work. But otherwise, I think I think lessons learned, I would imagine that every year is going to be a little more seamless. But I know the LPCVA is working very closely with all the hotels to identify, again, the park and ride opportunities that they used last year, which was really effective, by the way. And, it's an exciting time for Las Vegas. So we're all in on whatever we can do. I think the biggest thing is going to be ensuring that our customers know about this disruptions. And, Sam, we're also the traffic manager for the region. And so we work closely with the traffic control plans. We'll be using the dynamic message signs on the freeway system to inform motorists of the disruptions and what exit to take and that sort of thing. So it is communicating the traffic impacts not only on those dynamic message signs, but also we connect via text message, social media, things like that to ensure that it really is about informing the public prior to the disruption so that there's a workaround.
And that bridge over Flamingo is going to be, 2 lanes instead of 4 lanes. So apparently that should be helpful as well.
That's my understanding as well.
Well, I think we're all excited for Formula One, and it strikes me, and it did from the very beginning, that F1 was going to end up being somewhat like NFR, where NFR came in and over 10 nights in Las Vegas at a slow period of time, and eventually all the hotels got on board, because even if the people couldn't go to the NFR, they were going to the various entertainments at all the different properties, and you're seeing downtown now putting on a music fair, and I think that they're going to adapt, and so it'll be more spread out, and more people will be able to have the opportunity in terms of business to make money from this, just against the few high-end properties in the middle.
No, you're exactly right. I think the downtown area, the businesses down there are especially excited to have that. I think it's a 2-day music festival that will again celebrate the F1 experience. And again, at the RTC, our role is to ensure that whether you're taking public transit or we're helping to manage the traffic around that it is that seamless, because it is about it's not only the customer experience, but ensuring that those businesses have the opportunity to capture the crowds that come here for the F1 event. So I think every year it's going to be more impactful to the businesses, and I think we're all excited to see it come back.
Well, I know I certainly am. Let's take a break and we'll come back more from the RTC of Southern Nevada after this timeout.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
They want us to believe we only have two options. That's just not working anymore. I've never been a follower. I'm a businessman and entrepreneur. I'm ready to forge a new path to secure our future, one that keeps Northern Nevada free, fair, and wild. A path that means freedom for all, including affordable housing.
I'm Greg Kidd, and I approve this message because I'm not from either political party. I'm for Nevada.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with MJ Maynard. She is the CEO of the RTC of Southern Nevada. How is the Deuce doing? This is the bus that goes all along the Strip, and it was one of your most successful routes for a long, long time. And then Uber and Lyft came along, and I was kind of wondering how things had balanced out.
Those were the days, Sam. The Deuce actually was I think at the time, the only profitable route in transportation in the U.S.
Wow.
Because transportation itself doesn't generate a profit, right?
Right.
You certainly don't charge the actual cost to take transit. So it was, for those that are listening that may understand the terminology, the fare box recovery ratio, or how much money we collected at the fare box, was 163%. So we had the ability to generate a profit and then dedicate that profit to serving the locals. And so back in fiscal 16, the ridership in the resort quarter was 14.3 million passengers that year. This past fiscal year, fiscal 24, the ridership was 5.7 million. So, it's hard to compete when you're able to, from your phone in a very efficient manner, hail your card to where you are, to where you want to go. And so it's been impactful. We've seen a decline in ridership, slowly a decline in revenue, but again, it's mobility on demand, and that's something that you're seeing all over the United States that people would prefer to use. But we certainly still still represents 12% of our total ridership. It's still a very busy route. It's just not as busy as it once was prior, again, to other options to move about the resort quarter, not just taking transit.
And it's a great way to see the Strip, that is for sure.
It is.
Let's take another break, and then we'll come back, and I want to talk about futuristic things.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com. Come
one, come all, it's the $125,000 carnival of cash and prizes at Tamarack Casino. Get in on the fun with cash and free play prize drawings every Thursday and Saturday, including winners of up to $1,000 and a top prize of $5,000 guaranteed each week. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the air conditioning back on today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why sweat for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your air conditioning fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with MJ Maynard. She is the CEO of the RTC of Southern Nevada. As my viewers and listeners know, one of the things I love is the futuristic outlook of organizations like the RTC, airport state demographers, where you have to look out 20, 30 years in terms of your planning. And we've talked a lot on this program, and some people might say too much, about the new airport that's coming in Ivanpah. And so that's 5,000 acres for the airport itself, 17,000 acres for additional development around there. So I'm presuming things like hotels, housing, gas stations, you name it. Looking at Denver's airport, I think one can see a good example of what this is going to end up being. And it's going to be about 25 to 30 minutes from Las Vegas. And now, even though it's a long time out, I have to figure that this is already on your list of things that you're planning on. There was discussion probably a decade ago about light rail being one of the ways to get from Ivanpah all the way into Las Vegas. What are the current discussions?
You know, Sam, I'm going to go back to the F word. You know, funding. Certainly it is our job to think about how to move people efficiently, reliably today, but certainly well into the future. And in our role, we are also the Metropolitan Planning Organization, and that requires us, from a federal perspective, to look out and identify projects 20, 30 years out. And so we do know that not only here in Southern Nevada, again, we've been one of the fastest growing regions in the United States for many years, but continue to grow outwardly. And because of that, it's put more strain on funding and more strain on trying to adequately serve the community. In terms of funding for those future projects, whether it's the Ivanpah, it's development up in Apex, it's development in Sloan and El Dorado Valley, all of those, and certainly NDOT's part of the funding solution, as well as the local jurisdictions. We currently do not have the ability to identify funding for those types of projects. Fuel revenue indexing, which was an initiative, we had a ballot question in 2016 where the community overwhelmingly agreed to index fuel tax inflation, has allowed us to put forth, as a our capital improvement program today is about over $2 billion. In the next 10 years, all of the county and the cities have identified projects that the funding has been identified for, part of that capital improvement program, that $2 billion. Anything outside of that, future funding would not be available. The fuel revenue indexing piece is set to expire in 2026. If that happens, it's going to greatly reduce the amount of funding that's available for future projects like the airport. So it's a conversation that we're having at the state level with our potential legislators in the next session, certainly with the governor's office, with all the jurisdictions, about how we are going to identify a solution to continue to fund roadway projects as the roadway funding agency, and also public transit in whatever form that may be, right? It could be on demand, it could be a high capacity transit rail, light rail. But until we do that first, Sam, until we figure out we have a structural deficit in both the transit fund and also future, if we're not extending fuel revenue indexing, we'll have a real challenge in identifying any type of funding available for even the infrastructure there, let alone connecting it with high capacity transit.
Is there currently a road that goes between the Ivanpah area and Las Vegas?
I don't know off the top of my head. I believe so, but it's going to take, again, when you think of when the cities and the county, when they build out, the first thing obviously is looking at the roadway infrastructure, the utilities, water, et cetera. And I know that that's probably certainly taking place right now. It's not ours. It's not something that we specifically do. But I think, again, the conversation will continue to evolve as we determine as a community what kind of service we want to see, not only here, again, locally, but into those newer areas, the areas that are expanding. But funding is going to have to be identified first. Just in the last 26 years, the RTC has spent $3.7 billion on infrastructure improvements. And that is significant. What would we look like today if we didn't have the 215, if we didn't have the I-11, if we didn't have, just some of the major arterial improvements? And so identifying funding for our local projects is going to be challenged, let alone the future projects like the airport. But I do believe that Rosemary and her team that's something they're looking at as well. So it's going to take a collective effort for sure.
All right, so quick question, quick answer. Would you look at public-private partnerships in terms of building out the transportation?
Something we would always consider, absolutely. And it's not uncommon, Sam. Yeah, it's not an uncommon model. But again, it goes back to ensuring that you have that long-term ability to sustain and operate whatever it is you're investing in.
Understood. I thank you so much for doing this. Sadly, we're out of time, but that just means I want to invite you to come back again soon and let's talk more.
I would love it, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much indeed. Pleasure to have you on the program. That's MJ Maynard, the CEO of the RTC of Southern Nevada.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Hit the open road on a brand new Harley or win a bundle of cash during the $250,000 Harley-Davidson giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Thousands in weekly giveaways, plus multiple grand prize winners including cash and 7 brand new Harleys. Now at the Carson Valley Inn.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news in between and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. You can catch us online 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com, or you can download the podcast wherever you like to get your podcast. We'll see you on the next broadcast.